Health authorities in Belize on alert amid a major dengue outbreak. Our top story in Caribbean Newsline for Thursday, July 25th. From the CMC News Center in Bridgetown, I'm Ricardo Roberts. Good evening. Thanks for joining us. The Ministry of Health in Belize is on high alert following a drastic increase in dengue cases. In fact, with just 7 months into 2019, the number of cases has far surpassed that for all of last year. We get the details in this Channel 5 report.
There are over 600 confirmed cases of dengue in Belize so far. This is 2 times the amount recorded for the entire year of 2018. And more than the numbers when combining the figures from the past 2 years. It has thrown the Ministry of Health into a frenzy as they try to contain the spread.
So we're looking at laboratory surveillance, looking at confirmed cases. And so we had seen an increase of more than usual at the beginning of the year, but it had been a gradual increase. However, in the last 5 to 6 weeks, we have noticed a drastic increase in the number of cases. As mentioned earlier, it was mostly concentrated in the north. Started in Orange Walk, then it started spreading to Corozal. We had some small numbers in the Keys. However, since we have noticed this increase the last 5 to 6 weeks, we have seen an increase in the southern part of the country, Stan Creek District to be more specific, and also in the Cayo District. There are communities that are, of course, having higher numbers than others.
The statistics show that children between the ages of 5 and 9 and adults up to 39 years contribute to the bulk of those reported with dengue fever. Considering the rainy season is upon us, the ministry is expecting that the figures will increase.
Disease modeling, looking at trends that they had started seeing late in fourth quarter of 2018. So the region and a whole, they was seeing an increase in cases. So based on those forecasting, they alerted us and told us, look, we're going to see more several outbreaks, or we expect several outbreaks. And so back then we started doing some media rounds. I believe it was in March. So since that period, we have been seeing an increase in cases. But what the ministry did at that time was to basically put the different regional programs in country on alert. We have in place whereby our surveillance and management committees within the different districts have developed their dengue preparedness and response plan.
The Bahamas has passed the latest assessment from the Organization for Economic Cooperation and Development, OECD. It has confirmed that Nassau is a safe place for financial services and corporate investment. Now, addressing Parliament, Finance Minister Peter Turnquest welcomed the news that the country's laws are compliant with international standards.
This confirmation by the OECD that the Bahamas' domestic laws are not harmful affirms the Bahamas as a premier partner in the global fight against harmful tax practices and reinforces to the international community that the Bahamas is a safe place for financial services and other investment activities. Our commitment to the enhancement of transparency mechanisms demonstrates yet again that the Bahamas will not be a jurisdiction that encourages or facilitates financial crimes, including tax evasion and money laundering.
And the Jamaica Parliament has approved the extension of the state of emergency in 3 western parishes for another 3 months as authorities continue to grapple with rising crime. Prime Minister Andrew Holness told the House on Wednesday that Hanover, Westmoreland and St. James account for 20% of crime so far this year. We get more in this report from TVJ News.
It appears to be the new normal in parliamentary proceedings, MPs debating whether to extend the states of public emergency or the zones of special operations ZOZO. On Wednesday, they voted in the affirmative to continue the SOEs in St. James, Hanover and Westmoreland. Opposition spokesman on national security Fitz Jackson suggesting he voted yes with a heavy heart.
As we voted last week, I voted. It's not because we think the state of emergency is working. So don't entertain that idea in your head at all. It is the little as against nothing meaningful. Those are the choices we have.
Another recurring question, where is the national crime plan? The Prime Minister offered this response.
We are almost at a disadvantage because the opposition can say, what is the government doing? The government isn't doing anything. Government is doing quite a bit, but we can't say everything, Mr. Speaker, that is being done.
The opposition also raised a concern about how details relating to the SOE are reported. Lacking in the data, it is argued, is information on the number of firearms seized, also the number of raids carried out, and importantly, the number of gangsters brought to book.
There is no report that we're getting as to the number of gangs that have been dismantled, as to the number of persons detained, guns seized, the prospect of dismantling these criminal organizations within some specific period that would give comfort.
The National Security Council is very cautious in giving too much details about strategy. However, Mr. Speaker, it is already in the public domain that before the courts presently are, well, 3 gangs are before the courts now, immediately. But we have 14 cases of gangs that are lined up to come, with more than 100 persons involved in those cases.
In Trinidad and Tobago, the number of fishermen dead following an attack by apparent pirates earlier this week continued to rise on Thursday as the bodies of 2 more surfaced. The sister of one of the men said the body of her sibling, Shiva Ramdeo, was found in Cedrus in the morning. The other man was identified as Brandon Kisoon. The other 2 were among 7 who went missing when bandits believed to be pirates held them up, beat them, and forced them to jump overboard their fishing vessels on Monday night. A total of 4 bodies have so far been found. 2 were found on Wednesday, Anand Rampasad and another who has not yet been identified. Still to come, government workers in St. Lucia going home with more money this month following agreement in wage negotiations. We'll have more news after the break. Stay with us.
When you think of what we went through with Hurricane Irma, you had to be able to recognize what are the things we need to do to cope with the aftermath. The psychological trauma, to me, is probably the most telling on a lot of people.
Preparedness is the key. So when people are prepared, when people have what their resources in terms of how they can cope with the disaster, they're better able to be able to return to their normal life. They're better able to make decisions that are informed for themselves and for their family and then for their community. Be ready, look, listen, and link.
Public servants in St. Lucia will be going home with an extra $1,800 EC in their pay package this month. Government announced Wednesday that the lump sum it will be paying out following negotiations with public sector trade unions and staff associations on salaries and terms of conditions for the 3-year period ending March 31st this year. Now, it said that while the final collective agreement coming out of the negotiation process was still being prepared and vetted for formal signing. We get the details in this HTS News Force report.
Its negotiating team, GNT, has concluded negotiations with public sector unions and staff associations on salaries and terms and conditions, with the final agreements for the periods April 1st, 2016 to March 31st, 2019, and April 1st, 2019 to March 31st, 2022 to be finalized. Julian Monrose, president of the St. Lucia Teachers Union, addressed teachers on the developments.
That the employer would make every effort to pay the lump sum, increased pay, and retroactive pay by July 2019 payday.
However, Mr. Monrose has a few concerns.
Yesterday, the GNT forwarded us a draft document for perusal and giving our union just a few hours to attend the signing ceremony. At first glance of the document, it revealed that the GNT had gone against the agreement and provided only one collective agreement for 2016 to 2022. The short notice does not allow us to thoroughly peruse the document to ascertain that other areas have not been compromised. Given a situation where you have waited for so long for some well-deserved relief, we have written to the GNT asking that teachers be paid the lump sum, increased pay, and back pay by July 2019 payday while we work out the details of the signing. We hope that the employer will act in good faith and end the unwarranted punishment of teachers. We urge you to be vigilant in this matter.
The government of St. Lucia has agreed in good faith to pay a lump sum of $1,800. Payments will be made with the salaries to be paid for the month of July 2019 and forms part of the package for salaries and wages as negotiated with the St. Lucia Trade Union Federation.
Over in Antigua and Barbuda now, despite a passionate call from Health Minister Malwin Joseph for government to explore the possibility of banning the importation of the Toyota Vitz vehicle, Prime Minister Gaston Brown says there will be no such prohibition. As we hear in this ABS News report, Joseph made the call in Parliament as he noted that the vehicle had been involved in several serious accidents.
The Vitz has an engine that is more powerful than the body of the vehicle, so that what happens is proportionally, the engine is stronger than the body of the vehicle.
The health minister chiming in with his own concerns about the number of crashes on the nation's roads. He made it clear it is a public health issue and one which is ballooning health costs.
When we bring a doctor from Trinidad, it's $15,000, $20,000 US. So we can't ignore the problem, and it's a problem we need to address.
He explores one way to address it.
I was so upset about what was happening. Within a short space of time, there were 3 accidents in the Vitz. And I called the AG, I said, listen, let's just ban this thing from coming into this country. Just ban it. We want people to have vehicles, but we want them to have safer vehicles, Mr. Speaker. We want us to look at it, Mr. AG. We cannot pronounce a policy here, but let us look at it. But it's a serious public health problem.
ABS News sought empirical evidence from the country's emergency services. Director of the Emergency Medical Services, Sean Greenwich, tells ABS News Vitz vehicles have accounted for over half of all the traffic crashes between May and July 24 this year. There were 98 collisions overall during the period, 52 of which involved Vitz vehicles. The breakdown shows 18 of 39 crashes involving the Vitz in May, 22 of 37 in June, and 12 of 22 so far in July.
But in an announcement in a brief Facebook post on Wednesday, the Prime Minister said no ban is in place and government recommends caution when driving with speed. You're watching Caribbean Newsline. Jamaica will host a regional forum on Friday to address the influx of sargassum in the Caribbean. It's being spearheaded by the UWI Mona Campus, Global Tourism Resilience and Crisis Management Center. The objective is to share knowledge and best practices as it relates on sargassum, specifically the type which originates from the coast of Brazil. Host Tourism Minister Ed Bartlett says Jamaica is taking the lead on preventing sargassum from negatively impacting the region's vital tourism industry. Friday's discussions come on the heels of a meeting earlier this month in Cancun, Mexico, where 13 countries from the Caribbean and Latin America agreed to a 26-point plan to address the influx of sargassum in the region. And ahead in Newsline Sport, West Indies A dominate day 2 of the first unofficial test against India. Stay with us. Sport is next.
Do you know, I am really appreciative because I know this affects perhaps, hundreds of thousands of New Jerseyans and, of course, people from around the area. Because, of course, a lot of New York, New Jersey, and so much of this area intermingle. So this really does affect a large percentage of our viewing audience. So first of all, there's something called the ADA. Could you please explain what the ADA is and how it affects people?
Make it what you want. Make it what you want. Make it what you want.
Join global, regional, and local financial technology experts at the 3rd annual Central Bank Meets Blockchain Conference, Beyond Borders. Last year's conference was a sold-out event. This year's speakers will present on the role of central bank digital currencies in digital transformation within developing nations. Join us at the 3rd annual Central Bank Meets Blockchain Conference, Beyond Borders, September 10th, Hilton Barbados Resort.
Residents of Crown Point affected by the construction of a new terminal building at A&R Robinson International Airport are being assured they'll get all the support possible for their transition to a new area. They were invited to a second community meeting with project manager NIDCO, or the National Infrastructure Development Company, along with the Tobago House of Assembly and other stakeholders. The residents were updated on the approved land acquisition policy.
West Indies A dominated day 2 of the first unofficial test with the ball despite a superb knock by India's middle order batsman Shivam Dubey. 3 late wickets saw the regional side restrict India A to 299 for 8 at the end of play. Dubey scored 71 from 108 balls to rescue the visiting side's batting slide. However, Miguel Cummins picked up 3 wickets while Jomel Warrican and Rakeem Cornwall grabbed 2 wickets apiece. Here are the highlights.
Warrican to the Panshan. LBW looking to lap him. LBW for 49. Rakeem Cornwall to Gill. Last over before lunch. Gill looking to go over mid-wicket. Leading edge and he is caught a slip. Backward running back. Rakeem Cornwall first delivery after lunch. The man Barrett looking to hit him over mid-on. Good running catch. Running back. Over his left shoulder, never settled, dived in the end and took a good catch from our holder. Took brilliant catches. Look at this one again. Short delivery from Cummins to Vihari. He hooked. And the man, Shamar Holder, coming in to a low catch, diving forward, and certainly 2 highlights for the day. Shamar Holder's catching. And Shamar Holder came back and bowled Dubey. Full pitch with the second new ball, and he was bowled. And then in the final over of the day, 2 wickets for Cummins. LBW was Gautam. And then with the final delivery of the day, Nadeem, coming in for the last few deliveries, was caught down the leg side by wicket-keeper Jamar Hamilton.
We turn our attention to netball as regional teams are happy to be back home, yet reflective on their performances at the just concluded INF Netball World Cup in Liverpool. We start off with Jamaica's Sunshine Girls, who missed out on a semi-final berth, finishing 5th overall. In this report by TVJ's Trishana McGowan, assistant head coach Winston Nevers didn't mince words, vowing to give Netball Jamaica full disclosure about what happened in London.
The Sunshine Girls are back, but without a medal, which was highly expected, and also the team members who ply their trade in the Australian Suncorp League. Assistant coach Winston Nevers and vice captain Vangelie Williams bemoaned the team's performance, which led to them missing out on the semi-finals. Nevers was blunt in pointing out where the team fell short in the campaign.
Overall, I want to say indisciplined behavior and selfish attitude. I want to put it down to that because it cost us the semi-final. We did not execute, we did not play well because of certain reasons.
Following the losses to South Africa and England, Captain Janelle Fowler hinted at technical deficiencies that may have impacted the team. Nevers was asked about the chemistry between coaches and players.
I want to say I want to give a report to Netball Jamaica in a short space of time, and I definitely gonna say what really went down because I'm not gonna keep it. I'm gonna say it.
Vice Captain Vangelie Williams was somewhat diplomatic as she weighed in on what may have possibly jolted the team's campaign.
I don't want to play the blame game because at the end of the day, everybody was on board going forward and everybody's back now. So at the end of the day, I don't want to pinpoint and say he or she was a person that cost us to lose our game. Everybody has to take individual accountability and know that at the end of the day, every one of us had a job to do and we failed at that job.
Williams recommended possible solutions going forward to avoid a repeat of what transpired in England.
That's our approach to the training on the ground and know that everything is a holistic development. We can't really just wait on the encore things, how we take care of nutrition, how we take care of recovery, how we put emphasis on the players and ensure that the players are up to par where physical ability is there, as well as the mental ability and all of those things.
And Trinidad and Tobago's Calypso girls admit they were on a learning curve in the tournament. Head coach Wesley Gomes believes the former world champions who returned home on Wednesday need more international meets. TV6's Sergio Defoe reports.
After a lengthy flight from Liverpool, England, the netball team were a tired bunch upon arrival at the Piarco International Airport.
We have left the hotel at 1 o'clock China time this morning, so it was almost 24 hours we have been going. So we are tired and jet lagged.
The long journey back has given them ample time to reflect on their performance. After leaving the tournament confident about winning the title, coach of the team, Wesley Gomes, has said it was harder than expected.
Winning the title, so there's a big gap between 1 and 5 and 6 and 12 and then 12 and the rest. There's a big gap. If you watch the stats, the teams that play the 6 to 12 that play the 1 to 5 normally lose by about 30 points. We would be the only team ranked 6 to 12 play. We play the 1 to 5 teams ranked. We were the only team that to score 40 points in each of the games.
However, he believes that the team got valuable lessons from the competition.
As the tournament went on, we grew from strength to strength. So we played better every game. We was able to watch our mistakes in one game and fix them in next game. So that clearly shows that we need a lot more international exposure playing against the big teams.
Meanwhile, Barbados' netball boss also wants more international games for local players. Barbados Netball Association's Nisha Craigwell says plans are underway for the Bajan Gems to play their counterparts from the African continent in a regional tournament next year. CBC's Sean Green reports.
Barbados Netball Association President Nisha Craigwell is pleased with the fight shown by the Bajan Gems, who are currently ranked at number 11.
I'm very, very proud of the efforts of my team. I watched my team sing the national anthem with pride. Our girls fought very hard on the international stage. It's not the same ball game that we're accustomed to here in the local scene, and I'm very proud of the representation that the Bajan Gems did for Barbados.
What are some of the things we need to do to kind of bridge that gap between our level of play and international level?
Play netball. That is exactly what we're missing. As long as we can get international international games in, we can play consistently, we will be able to match any team in the world.
And with a number of African nations performing quite well in the World Cup, placing in the top 10, Craigwell says that Barbados plans to work more closely with them as soon as January.
So we've already met with the African nations, Malawi, Zimbabwe, as well as Uganda, and we are hoping to have an African Caribbean Cup. Now let me say Caribbean African Cup. Let me put the Caribbean first, right here in Barbados. So I've already started negotiations, and I hope to have them here by early next year so that our Bajan Gems can get some much needed competition and also to look at their style of play. Obviously, that will take some financing, so as usual I'm always pleading for assistance, but that's the type of competition that we need to have, and to have it right here in Barbados so that other netballers can also benefit from the experience.
And over to Lima, Peru, where Caribbean athletes are gearing up for competition at the Pan Am Games, which officially opened Thursday. Guyana will take center stage this weekend in the sports of taekwondo, squash and rugby. HGP Stanford Howard reports.
Guyana's squash team led by the experienced Mary Fungafat will receive support from Taylor Finance and Ashley Khalid when the team gets into battle at the Pan American Games in Peru. The weather in Peru is forecast to be very cold. This will be Guyana's first squash contingent at these games. Speaking before they took to the court, Coach Raymond Shanasu said despite the cold weather, the ladies from the land of many waters will be ready to deliver.
The girls seem to have adjusted to the courts a little much quicker than I thought. We are using a 17-inch tin for singles, which is a lot different than what we have in Guyana. So that's been more of a challenge than the actual temperature, you know. So it's coming along well though.
And that's the sports. Stay with us. We'll be right back.
After an emergency, you can help yourself and others by looking, listening, and linking. Looking because you want to see if the person has some signs that is in distressing. Looking for the symptoms, how best you can support the person. And then listening, because listening is very important. Listening with your ears, listening with your eyes. If you do that well, then you'll be able to link them to the appropriate resources.
Be ready, look, listen, and link.
Welcome to this year's 50th Caribbean Broadcast Union Assembly on the island of San Andres. San Andres is a small archipelago located in between Jamaica and Panama in the Western Caribbean Sea. A lush, exotic island rich in culture, history, gastronomy, and breathtaking scenic views. Known for its beaches and 7-colored crystalline waters, the island of San Andres will be proudly hosting this year's event. CBU members will enjoy top-of-the-line accommodations for an unforgettable experience in San Andres, connecting Caribbean nations through this year's 50th edition of the CBU Assembly.
Again, the major developments of this day: health authorities in Belize on alert amid a major dengue outbreak. The number of cases so far this year has surpassed the total for 2018. And in sport, West Indies A dominates day 2 of the first unofficial test against India A. That's Caribbean Newsline. For news and sports round the clock, subscribe to CaribNews.com. For more of our programming, log on to CaribVision.tv and check out our YouTube channel. We'll be back here again tomorrow, but from all of us at CMC News, thank you for watching. Have yourselves a wonderful evening.